Appreciate it. And thank you for staying with us tonight. I'll yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Titus. Ms. Huelskamp, thank you for yielding your time. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to ask questions. I will note at this facility I was at, I had more than 5 minutes, and it worked out much better that way. But I'd like to follow up on a couple of things. Putting together the OIG report with the numbers today, Mr. Metkoski, you mentioned 64,000 roughly that are on the near list and 57,000 that are on the electronic waiting list. If I understand and recall the report from OIG last week, near was considered an unauthorized waiting list. But in addition to that, they'd identified at Phoenix alone 600 veterans that were in other type of unauthorized waiting list. And so if the averages would hold the numbers, that would identify 30 to 35,000 veterans on other unauthorized, hence secret waiting list. Do you have any data on that was shed the light on? Because again, that was 1/3 of the total at Phoenix. You haven't referenced it all in your report today.
Sure. So for Phoenix, I believe there were 3. I would let Ms. Halliday actually correct me, but I believe there were 3 sources of data in addition to the electronic wait list. One of them was the new enrollee appointment request. The other was a consult for an appointment, typically coming from the ED to primary care. And the last one, I believe, was the helpline. That helpline process is stood down. That was not an appropriate process. They have now moved somebody into their call center who actually manages the EWL for them. The consult for primary care appointment would get picked up in our consult review, though.
Okay, what are the numbers for that? How many are waiting?
I don't have that tonight, sir.
Okay, so that would be not included in the 64 nor the 57. Do you have a rough estimate of how many other veterans are in that list?
Sorry, the correct process for processing a consult for an appointment request is to either schedule that appointment timely, or if you cannot schedule that appointment, to have it in the EWL. I understand that. The OIG referenced 200 veterans in the consult list out of the 1,100, or 200 there, and then 400 on screenshot paper printouts. So again, that was about 1/3 of the total. So are you picking up these other unauthorized lists, and any guesstimate of how many nationwide? Because that would be beyond the numbers you revealed today. Sir. Is that correct? So as we continue to report this, bi-monthly we're going to report these data. It will change. There will be more folks on EWL, or as
well, I understand, but how many today are on the consult list? That's, again, an unauthorized waiting list.
I'm sorry, but the consult process is not an unauthorized mechanism. What is not correct is to not act on that, and that's what Phoenix did not do. That was what was not correct. It is correct to use the consult system from the emergency department.
So I'm about out of time. So the OIG was inaccurate in calling that?
No, not at all. They were accurate. What they were saying was...
So how many are on this consult list?
Nationally, I do not know.
Okay.
We can get that data.
Wish you would, because the media is reporting 57,000, and then the near list of 64,000. What I'm saying is, by my guesstimates, we're talking about another 25 or 30,000 on unauthorized list separate from those. In addition, going back to the VA report from April of 2010, they also identify manual logbooks. Is there any evidence of manual logbooks being handled in any VA facility?
I don't have any evidence, but we did not do an evidence collection process for manual logbooks. Okay. Those are not to be used.
Well, so is block scheduling is not to be used. So is consult management and playing with the desired date. And again, these are all unauthorized. So that was my question.
There were some handwritten lists that have come to our attention in the course of our work, and we're pursuing those as to who created them, at whose direction, and so on.
Were any of those found in Phoenix, Mr. Griffin?
Not a handwritten list per se. There were 400 or 500 desired appointments that were in someone's desk drawer that were not, officially accounted for at the time that they were given to us.
Okay. And lastly, Ms. Griffin, we have a report of the OIG's investigation at Richmond VAMC, where the investigator arrived at 12:10 p.m., searched one room for a document shredder, and left the premises 10 minutes later. Can you give me a criteria of these type of searches? If it lasted 10 minutes, only involved one room?
That's not familiar information to me. I'd be happy to take that for the record.
And last,
determine whether or not it really was an IG employee or somebody else.
okay, and lastly, also disturbing reports, the VA has insisted and been allowed to have representatives present during the OIG interviews of scheduling clerks. Is this the case at all?
No, I think that is the VA audit. We've had a couple of directors try and barge into one of our interviews, and we threw them out.
Okay, even though they have an investigation going on at the same time, those are entirely separate and have
No,
not
this would be a
interfered with.
medical center director who was trying to impede our interview with their schedulers.
About general
and we
counsel?
threw them out of the room.
Any union representatives in these investigative meetings?
Not in ours.
Okay, I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huelskamp.